Hello and welcome to another episode of All Elite Arcade. As always, our co-hosts Evil Uno and the Chugs are in the house, and it's a Monday. And on a Monday, not only does this podcast come out, we talk video games. We talk about the video games that we've been playing for the last week. We talk about the video game news that has happened the last week, and there is a lot to talk about because we're about to hit, not only have we both played a bunch of games, but we're about to hit probably the busiest season in video game, maybe history. So let's get right down to it. Chugs, what you been playing this week?
Yeah, Uno, I briefly do want to touch on this because I know we talked about this a little bit before we started filming or recording today. This does feel like the craziest 6 to 8 weeks, at least ever, since I've been really passionate about video games. The game releases are unbelievable, which we will get into later on in today's episode. But I'm just so excited for everything going forward. And I'm also very excited about what I got the chance to play this week. Once again, listeners, as you know, playing that Pokemon trading card game Pocket, we got a new pack. Which is very exciting. Every time I get so close to finishing a pack, a new one comes out. They've done an incredible job with constantly releasing new stuff. So once again, that game continuing to build on itself more and more and more. The most fun I've had with a mobile game, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, is incredible. Also, I have continued my journey of Expedition 33 on stream, which has been an absolute blast. And the very exciting thing for me now is I just recently got to a point where I'm playing all new content. Before, like I had mentioned, I played a little bit of Expedition 33 off stream just because I had heard a lot of great stuff about it. As I was playing it, the game just absolutely captivated me, felt more and more special. So I thought, man, I want to experience this on stream. That's my favorite way to game. And I have gotten to a point now where I'm seeing all new stuff, and it just continues to get me more and more excited for this game. I'm not going to say anything story-wise because I really do think everyone who's listening, if you've not had the chance to play Expedition 33, you absolutely should experience it.
Yes,
it really does feel like
go on your way and do it now.
Yeah, it really does feel like a once-in-a-generation game when it comes to the story and things like that. But once again, the combat is so fun, and they're continuing to build on it. I recently got a fourth party member, which is really exciting, and her play style is completely different from the other three. So I'm still trying to learn her play style. I haven't played with this new character very much. I've decided to stick with the original trio, at least for now. But as I'm going further into the game, I'm seeing there are more and more elements that weapons can have, more and more spells and different Pictos and things like that you can use. Every single area I've gone has been beautiful. There is so much. There is countless optional content in this game. Again, I am very much still in Act 1, and I'm constantly finding optional areas or different places to explore. So again, Expedition 33 is absolutely incredible. I'm having a blast with it. If you have not played it, please make sure you play it. In addition to that, I've mentioned before that sometimes over the weekend, if I'm able to, me and my brother love to game together. We decided to play some Castle Crashers this past weekend, which was really fun. Again, one of the original indie titles that really kind of exploded, the side-scrolling beat-em-up that is just so fun. I love the art style. I love the different pets that you can get. So in Castle Crashers, in addition to it being RPG-like, where you get to level up and get more powerful weapons and certain characters use certain spells, there's also these pets that you can find that have little passive bonuses for you. Like, say, the ram will knock enemies down, or the giraffe, you get more experience, so you level up faster. I forgot about how detailed that can be within this game, and I think it's so fun. So that's been really cool. In addition to that, too, I just want to say the Castle Crashers soundtrack has no business being as good as it is.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's unbelievable. Some of the songs are so epic, so epic. So the music in that game is awesome. So I know before we've talked about this, but if you're looking for a fun couch co-op game to play, Castle Crashers is a 10 out of 10 experience. The game is just as fun as I remember it being. So much fun. Also, I've mentioned many times before that Road Rash is a game that is very important to me. And I've said before, I think it'd be so cool if we got Road Rash brought back in some capacity, like a remake or a collection or something, because I really do cherish those games. Well, it's not a sequel, but it certainly feels inspired by Road Rash. There's this game, Uno, that came out, I believe, in 2013 or 2014. It's called Road Redemption. And it very much is Road Rash-inspired, where you're on these bikes, you're punching people, you're using weapons to knock people off their bikes. But the really cool thing about this is it's like a roguelike. So you'll go through one stage, and if you get first, or if you knock off a certain amount of enemies on the race, again, there's cops coming after you as well, different things that you have to avoid. Then you get extra bonuses. So maybe you want to spend your points or your cash on getting some health back because you lost a lot of health on the last race. Or maybe you want to upgrade to a different weapon, like a shovel. So then you can hit like twice as far as you could with your police baton. Maybe you want to increase the speed on your bike. It's really, really cool, the concept of doing a Road Rash game in a roguelike fashion. It's really fun. So I played that for like an hour, and I'm definitely excited to jump back into that one. Very, very fun game. It was just very exciting after talking about Road Rash so much. Road Redemption, really, really fun. But I'd say the biggest thing out of this past week is I beat my 12th video game this year.
Yeah.
Number 12 was the absolutely incredible Donkey Kong Bonanza. I know there's so many things that I want to say about this game, but similar to Expedition 33, especially because Donkey Kong Bonanza came out so recently, I'm not going to go into any story detail on this game, but all the 10 out of 10s that Donkey Kong Bonanza got, it completely deserved. Again, I really enjoyed the game in the beginning stages, in the middle stages, but I will say the last 25%, the last quarter of that game is just unbelievable. It's some of the best 3D platforming I've ever experienced. The story is incredible. The different skills that you unlock, the different things that you encounter. It's like such an unforgettable, amazing experience. And then also when you finish it, Uno, I know you had mentioned this to me as well, but they give you a ton of stuff to do afterwards if you don't want to be done with Donkey Kong Bonanza. So this game is just packed with content, and it was just so well done. I still can't believe that in the same year, I know it didn't come out the same year, but in the same year, I got the chance to experience Astrobot and Donkey Kong Bonanza at the same time. It's wild that I got to play those, so close together. I really do think two of the best 3D platformers that I've ever played. So good. So yeah, I absolutely love Donkey Kong Bonanza, which now means on my Switch 2, I am jumping into Deltarune chapters 3 and 4. And I played just a little bit of Deltarune Chapter 3, and it's wackier than ever right off the start. I'm now talking to a TV that is having a game show that I'm a part of, and it just seems like it's going to be wackier than ever, similar to Undertale, similar to Deltarune Chapters 1 and 2. So I'm excited to continue through that game because Toby Fox is amazing, and I'm sure Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 is going to be incredible. It started off strong. But Uno, that's about it for me. About it.
I'm actually really excited for you because Chapter 3 and 4, I think, has some of the strongest music Toby Fox ever made. And
beautiful.
Yeah. Like, and he's made some incredible music before. But they're especially in so you're in like that TV time chapter that has two of my top 5 Toby Fox songs as of yet.
Oh, so, wow.
Yes, well worth your time to play if you haven't played Deltarune. Not only just because of the music, the game is incredible. And I'm very excited for when we get that next chapter, whenever the heck that is. Great games we played this week, but finally, I teased it last week. But and I even started talking about it last week. I was at Gamescom this week. I was until a day and a half ago. I was on European soil in the UK for about 2 weeks. I've been living out of a bag for 3 weeks. This is quite literally the last clean shirt I own. I cannot wait to make it home. But one thing that was very cool is I got to go to Gamescom. I talked a little bit about the games I played last week, including I talked about John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. That was a 4-player co-op first-person shooter that looks very interesting. Katsunigami, that's a Capcom RTS / hack and slash game. SpongeBob Times of the Tide, that's another puzzle platformer, third-person puzzle platformer. Super Meat Boy 3D, which is exactly what you would think it is, Super Meat Boy in 3D. And then the big 2 games that I played last time and talked about were by far my 2 favorites that I had played until the games I'm about to play and talk about now. Reanimal, which is a lot like Little Nightmares co-op, third-person, very atmospheric, very scary, third-person exploring game with little puzzles. And Seance of Black Banner, which is a deductive puzzle game where you in first person go through a manor, and as you investigate time runs out and you have to try and investigate things before the time is run out on your goals. Super fascinating, super interesting. I believe that will be coming out sometime this year, if not in early next year. That seems to be what they have said. But I'm here to tell you I played Silksong.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I had one more day left on Gamescom since last week, and I knew like this is my longest day. I have a premium pass. I get the access an hour early. I'm going to show up an hour early, and I'm going to get in line for Resident Evil, and I'm getting in line for Silksong. I don't care how long I have to wait. I'm going to play those games. Well, I'd like to tell you I was wrong about that because the second I walked into the building, what I was supposed to get early access for about an hour on my level of badge that I had, but there was a huge rainstorm, and so they let everyone in so that they wouldn't get wet. So as soon as I got there, I was actually 3 minutes after the doors had opened. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just run right to Capcom. And the door opened, and there was already a 11-hour wait to get to play Resident Evil 9. And
11 hours.
Yes, and Pragmata had a 7-hour wait. On Ominusha, the new one, was a 6-hour wait. So I told myself I can't possibly do this. I have old bones. I'll just wait and see what happens. But Silksong had 2 different booths, and Silksong was only a 90-minute wait. So I waited the 90 minutes, and I finally got my hands on Silksong a whole week before the game came out. And let me talk a little bit about the demo. In a lot of ways, this is very much a Hollow Knight game. It feels like a Hollow Knight game. The character you play in this is a little heavier in weight. We discussed this from the trailer we watched last week, but as you jump, you can feel the weight. You're not as floaty as your original character from Hollow Knight, but there is some distinguishing features. The attack is slightly faster. Your down attack as you attack is very quick, and it shoots down diagonally, so you can't start aiming directly underneath you. You have to like diagonally hit it, and you bounce off very easily. So you can do a lot of air attacks if you get really good at it. And so on the combat focus, this was like we had a limited 10 minutes to play the demo. That is how long they would let you. A lot of these other demos would let you play through the entirety of this. You had the option of entering 2 different areas. One was a kind of a foresty green area where a lot of the enemies seemed like very similar to the early parts of Hollow Knight.
Was that called the Moss Grotto? I think.
Yes, I believe.
Okay.
I believe that's what it was called. And the way it goes, there was no map focus, so you could not open a map. So you could. That's the first thing I wanted to know was like, hey, how much of this can I figure out and see? Because I was like, this is the stuff I want to know. You could not open the map. It seemed like a very limited in scope, because while I could explore different paths, it was obvious I couldn't make the leaps, or I didn't have the secondary runes to like make double jumps or whatever to get to certain paths. So once you went through the entirety of the path, and there was different ways, you had to pick up a key to open a gate, or you had to get an item to give to someone to open another gate. It all led to a mini boss, which was very, very much like a very early Hollow Knight boss. Destroyed that first boss, no problem whatsoever. Ended up playing the second portion of the demo because there was 2 options you got to choose from the demo screen. And the other one was I don't know how to describe this, but it was like more runic. It almost felt like Egyptian themed. It obviously wasn't Egyptian, but it had that like sarcophagus pyramid look to it, but it had like honey, and obviously it was going to be a more like bee focused area. This one, same thing, same idea. It was really more focused on getting to that last boss, so you just navigate around. There wasn't anything very new, with some exception. There was some like traversal doors that you had to, instead of just like leaping through a door or activating a an elevator, there were like things you had to attack that would open a door up above. So you had to attack one part and then try to make it within time to get through that. And that seemed like a mechanic that was a little different from what we've seen from the previous game. But this also ended up on another boss fight. Unfortunately, as I was playing the boss fight, my 10 minutes was up, so I did not get to complete it. But both of them, as soon as you completed, essentially gave you a message saying, thank you for playing Silksong, and it would shoot you right back to the main menu. There's nothing in this 10 minutes that tells me there's a bunch of different stuff in this game. And while that would be an alarming thing in another game, I think, in this game, that's perfectly fine because all I want is more Hollow Knight. And considering how long they've worked on this and considering the quality of their previous game, I trust that this will be incredible. It felt great. I will say it. It felt very good to play.
That makes me so happy. But I do want to say this as well, Uno, based off what you're saying. I think Team Cherry is hiding a lot.
I think so too.
But like you said, I just want more Hollow Knight. I am so excited for this. But I think both moves that you can do, we've seen before Hornet like add fire to her needle, which is really, really cool. And I also, again, I did not get my hopes up because no matter what, I'm telling you, I'm just so excited for this game. But I think this game is going to be huge.
Yes.
I really do. I think there's a reason they hid the map. I think we saw a section of the map in one of the trailers, but there's, both sides, you could still go further. Yes. I think Silksong is going to be massive, and they're just underplaying it.
I know that they've kind of said that expect a map larger than the first game, which the first game is an incredibly big game.
Huge.
It's like 40 plus hours to get through most of it, and that's not even like if you're going to do the hard run afterwards. So I'm expecting a big one, and I'm actually, more than anything, I'm so excited to play it next week, but I'm so excited that everyone is starting at the same time, so all of us are going to be discovering things simultaneously. And so, and that's some of my favorite stuff. That Blueprints was the same idea. Return of the Obra Dinn, like people simultaneously discovering things, and like you only hear like someone's like, hey, like little whispers of, did you get to this place? No, not yet. Okay, don't say anything. Get you and not getting spoiled on stuff. I'm so excited for this next podcast because I know both of us. This comes out on September 4th, which is Thursday next week.
Yep.
And Thursday I am home, so I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm playing 12 plus hours on one sitting if I can.
All day, easily.
Yes.
I'm even considering too, Uno. I'm either considering staying up after midnight and playing it into the night, or setting my alarm and getting up early and then playing it all day. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both. I seriously, I'm going to play this game nonstop. I can't believe we're almost here. I can't believe it.
I'm gonna have to look at the time it unlocks too, because sometimes it unlocks at like midnight Eastern. Sometimes it's 11 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes if you're in Australia, you could get it at midnight, and so you change your time clock every now and then. I might have done that once or twice. So yeah, I'm definitely. This will be the type of game I think either I'm gonna be awake the second it comes out, or if it's like in the wee hours of the morning, I will go to bed early, which I never do, just to get ready for a whole day of playing Silksong. So next week I'm going to talk about more games. Do not worry, but next week we will talk so much Silksong. You will get your fill. In fact, I don't think I'll play anything else next week. It's almost a guarantee.
No.
Back on Gamescom, so Silksong was by far the biggest game I wanted to play, but I did get to play a couple other things, including Towa and the Guardian of the Sacred Tree, which was like a hack and slash game, kind of structured the way Hades is, where you go into different doors and it gives you different rewards based on what door you go to. It was not focused nearly as much on story beats like Hades was. It was way more combat focused. You got to choose a character and a secondary character, and that kind of dictated what your attacks would be as well as your supporting attacks. It was mechanically, it was very fun. I don't know if it will have the weight and the pull that Hades had on me, because that game by far one of the best games in the last decades, I think. Very, very good. Other than that, I also got to play Militsioner, which I had never heard of. Essentially, it's a first-person puzzle box. You're in like this little world, but there's a giant police officer, and I mean giant as in like towering Galactus style over the box, and he's watching your every move. And so based on what you do, he can come and grab you from the world and invest and be like, are you committing crimes, so on and so forth. Except it has like a very wacky humor to it. So for example, I like went for a door and the door was locked, and I ended up breaking a window to get inside. And of course, the giant police officer sees me. He picks me off the world. He starts questioning me. And in the you can either give him like if you pick up apples or you pick up things, you could give him gifts, or you can decide in a tree of a dialogue tree what to say to him. And I decided, I'm just going to be mean to this police officer because I think this is not right. And somehow it made him sad. In fact, like it said, like, you made Militsioner sad. He is now very sad. And he started crying, which made the entirety of the level start slowly filling up with water. And eventually, you know, after a few minutes, I drowned and I died. So, like, there is a very cool mechanic of how you affect the world based on how your relationship with the giant police officer is. And I was very fascinated because I had never heard of this game. Militsioner, no clue when it comes out, but it was very interesting. I also got to play a Raccoin, which is you know those coin operation machines where you drop a coin and based on where it falls, it'll push a bunch of other coins forward. It's like a very like big gambling, or you can play it at like a Dave & Buster's. They make a roguelike out of this mechanic where coins that you drop, essentially, if you push enough down, you'll get enough tickets. You can then purchase different coins so that you could drop those. They could be much larger, which pushes more coins, or have better values, or, you know, they have like one of them was like an explosion effect. So if one got through, it would create an explosion that shook everything, and then a ton of the coins would fall down. Very interesting. I thought it was very fun. I like a roguelike mechanic for sure. And I feel like we've done poker, you know, we've done blackjack now, we've done roulette, dice games. So it was only time for something else to get the treatment, and Raccoin seems like a very interesting way of using that coin machine to a roguelike format. So very, very interesting. I'll definitely be playing that. And then the big one else that I waited in line for was during opening night live, there is a very cool indie game that got revealed called Denshaattack, which is... It was trains on a track, except the trains you operated and did like Tony Hawk Pro Skater flips with, and like jumped around rails and smashed through things, and like in midair would do double flips. And it was very colorful. I ended up waiting an hour to play this game because I was like, oh, I did not know this was here. I believe it is due in spring of next year. And the demo was like at least a 25-minute demo. I was like, I would love to get my hands on this. Incredible. Honestly, I think if you do not know what Denshaattack is, DESH attack, all one word, get out of your way and go try that when it does eventually come out, because I think it is mechanically very different. It's like a Jet Grind Radio or Tony Hawk. It has that visual of Jet Grind Radio where it has like the cell shading, colorful style. You're mostly doing grinds with your train, but you're doing crazy tricks. You're dodging things. You're hitting switches to switch tracks to make sure that you don't hit other stuff. There's like within it challenges, and within that there's also different collectibles you have to pick up. It was surprisingly challenging as well. Just to give you an idea of the Gamescom experience, not only do you wait, but sometimes you have to wait and watch someone absolutely suck at a video game. And I had waited so long for this game. It was supposed to be an hour wait. It ended up being an hour and a half because, and I'm sorry, I'm going to disparage the name of children right here, but you should not let a child play some of these games. They can't complete it. And the demo does not end until they complete it. So I ended up sitting behind a child who played the first 3 levels of this game. It's supposed to take about 15 to 25 minutes for a regular player. This child played for an hour because he could just not understand the mechanics. And unfortunately, I couldn't be like, hey, you got to press this button. You can't ignore this button. What are you doing? So Definitely not a game that everyone will be good at. It definitely is challenging. By experience, I saw a child that could not pick it up. But I was very interested in it, and I was very surprised once I played it how well and how good it felt to play. So a Denshaattack is definitely one that you want to go and check out. So yeah, by far, Silksong, Denshaattack, and Seance of Blank Manor were my three favorites, as well as Reanimal. So if you get the chance, all those are supposed to be coming out in the next year. Obviously, Silksong being next week. Do check those out. And if I have to say it, I do recommend going to Gamescom. It is a wild experience. There is a lot of people there. In fact, this is jumping into our news a little bit, but this Gamescom 2025 broke their attendance record with 357,000 visitors, which is an unreal amount of people. And it felt like an unreal amount of people because it was flooded. It was flooded with people on those weekend days.
Uno, I hope so badly. Once again, I'm so glad you got to go and so glad you had such a blast because it was like an absolute epic, the biggest Gamescom ever. But I hope so badly that I get to go with you next year.
Oh, me too, man.
I would love to be able to talk about it.
Dude, I kind of fantasize that we do this and Tokyo Game Show. They're 1 week after the other. They're 1 month after the other. That would be incredible.
That'd be the best.
Yes.
That'd be the best. Let's dream it into existence.
Let's
make it happen. That'd be incredible.
Well, that is the games we played for this week. Let us know what you played on youtube.com/AWGames in our comment section down below because I've not been in tune with what's recently come out because I'm prepping myself for Silksong's release next week. And there's a ton of other games which we will talk about right after this. And we're back. It's time to talk the news of the week, and it starts off actually with the video games that are coming out in the next month because I think you cannot talk about the news of the week and not take into account we're about to have some of the largest releases all in a span of a month.
It's wild, dude.
It is crazy.
It's unreal the next 6 to 8 weeks. Oh my God.
Like even right now, so I'm going to go back and forth and we can talk about it as they happen, but just now, as this podcast releases, hopefully I will get to have my hands on it. But just yesterday, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater came out. Huge remaster of Metal Gear Solid 3. Great reviews. Everyone seems to be loving it. That is already a huge release on its own.
Yep.
But quickly followed this Thursday, obviously, Silksong is coming out, which if you're a fan of video games or you've listened to this podcast, you know how big this is for both me and Chugs.
Huge and most wish-listed game on Steam. Not only huge for me and for you, but for millions of people. Is an unbelievable release. Huge release.
Yeah, and it's the type of release that we've seen very little of, and somehow it's been memed into existence, like the weight of this release. Right. And we'll talk about the impact of its release a little bit after we talk about the releases as well, because some games have been trying to escape the week of Silksong as quickly as humanly possible. But not these games, because Hell Is Us, also coming out September 4th.
Yes, which to me, Uno, does seem really interesting. It's like a third-person action-adventure game, like combat-focused. I don't want to say Souls-like because I know everyone uses that term, but it seems like the combat is difficult. Also, though, the exploration looks incredible in this game. So Hell Is Us is for sure a game I'm going to be checking out.
Yeah, I don't know. So, like, looking at this list, I don't know how we're going to do it, but Hell Is Us is probably going to have to take a few weeks of just the Silksong. And then the day after Silksong is another game I've been waiting for so long. Cronos: The New Dawn. That is Blooper Team. They made the remastered Silent Hill game. They're making their own IP. It looks like Dead Space meets Silent Hill. It looks alarmingly good. Like every clip I've seen of it looks incredible. I can't believe it's the same week as Hollow Knight. Probably a game I will have to wait at least a week after Hollow Knight to even touch, but that is definitely going on my list of games I'm playing this week.
Yeah, I also am 100% playing this, but like you, I'm going to wait probably a week or two to play it, but I'm definitely going to play it. Again, Blooper Team did amazing with Silent Hill 2 Remake. Cronos looks awesome. Looks really, really good.
Yes, very excited. And when you hear this, if you decide to skip on Silksong and you play Cronos, let us know in the comments, because it's absolutely certain I don't think either of us will get a chance to play it this week.
No,
in fact, I'm making it. I'm saying it out loud right now. I don't think I'll play this game this week. Silksong will dominate everything I want. Quickly following September 5th, that is when Cronos comes out. Borderlands 4 on September 12th, which I got to see some footage of Borderlands 4. I didn't get to. That line at Gamescom was also unreal. It looks like a good one. It looks like a good one of those. I'm hoping it brings back the magic of Borderlands 2.
Yes. I am a huge Borderlands fan, and from what we've seen, I feel like it's definitely going in the right direction. Also, I've already made arrangements, but Borderlands 4 is going to be the first game that I play through the campaign in 4-person co-op. I've never played... Yeah, never played a Borderlands game in co-op before. I've always done it single player, which has been amazing experiences. But I'm very excited to see how this is as well. Like, oh man, I'm so excited. I've been wanting a new Borderlands for a while, and this one seems like it's clicking on all cylinders for sure.
So I remember Borderlands 2 and playing that co-op 2 players. I did not know this had 4-player co-op. Did the second one also have 4-player co-op?
I believe the second one did have 4-player co-op as well. Yeah.
That's fascinating, especially for a campaign. Very excited for that. I like Borderlands a lot. Even the third one, which not a lot of people liked, I definitely thought it was inferior to the second, but I still had a good time. So
me too.
If it's anything better than the third one, then we're eating good this month. That's perfectly fine with me.
Oh, yeah.
The week after Borderlands, Dying Light the Beast, September 19th comes out. Dying Light is an incredible first-person shooter zombie game, but also a parkour game. And this one looks horrifying, also looks mechanically like it will be very fun. I really like Dying Light 1 and 2. This is another game that if it was the only release this month, I would be so pumped. But it's now one of like 5 I'm about to play. The week after, this month seems tailor-made for you. I don't know what's going on here.
It does.
September 25th, we get Silent Hill F, which September is crazy this month.
September's wild. And again, too, Uno, the more we're seeing of this game, the more excited I am for getting it. And I actually think, too, I love that the premise or the location is in a different spot. I want to see what Silent Hill looks like in this new area. So, man, the more I see the combat, the more I see the enemy design. Silent Hill F looks great. I hope this is launching the Silent Hill franchise back to the forefront, because I love Silent Hill. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing this as well. Two what look to be excellent horror games in September.
Yes, yeah, and if you count Dying Light, 3 horrifying games pretty quickly after each other.
Right.
Silent Hill was another one that had a huge lineup, and I don't know if this is a good sign or if this is just how they've created their booth, but they had no like it said Silent Hill F, but they did not want you seeing footage. You had to get in line to play it. I'm hoping that's good news, because I hear the combat is there was a whole hoopla about, like, is this a Dark Souls-ish game? Like, is this a Souls-like? And they came out and like, no, this is like, it has combat-focused things, but like all horror games had combat-focused stuff before. It is not a Souls-like. It is third-person action horror. Very excited to see it, though. And we will not be waiting long, because under a month away until we play that. The exact same day, on the other side of the palette, is Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I got to see a little bit of that. It looks interesting if you're into those Mario Kart style games. This has like a battle mode. Pac-Man is going to be in it. A bunch of Sega characters as well.
And it not only looks great, but it plays great, because I got the chance to get my hands on it once again at Summer Game Fest, and it's super fun to play. This seems like it's going to be an awesome kart racer.
So yeah, the big competition for Sonic Racing, because even with all the games that are releasing, it's also releasing with Silent Hill F, but excited to see how that does. And then we cap off. I know theoretically it's the next month, but I think this is the biggest release in the other than Hollow Knight in the next span. Ghost of Yotei is only 6 weeks away. It's October 2nd. So what
is going on?
Right now, my plan is to Silksong, the second it comes out, I'm going to invest so much time that I'm hoping by the time Silent Hill F comes out, I'm tired of playing Silksong and I'm willing to put it down for like a 10-hour span so that I can play Silent Hill. Then I'm hoping I get tired of Silent Hill for a little bit so I can go back to Silksong and get tired of that so that I can play Ghost of Yotei is probably going to be a meaty game. If the previous game is any indication, you're at least looking at a 40-hour game. And the last game was so gorgeous. They already announced on this one that the Legends mode, that co-op focus raid multiplayer game is coming back in the new year as well. So I'm so excited for this one as well. This is the second biggest release for me in the next month. Obviously, Hollow Knight Silksong is by far number one, but this is a close second.
Me too. Again, Ghost of Tsushima was like my favorite new PlayStation IP in recent memory. I loved Ghost of Tsushima, and then the more footage that we got to see at Gamescom opening night live just shows that it's going to be more of the same, just bigger, just better. The areas look absolutely gorgeous. Ghost of Yotei certainly going to be in the running for Game of the Year, but again, as we've said before, I think this is going to be the closest race ever when it comes to Game of the Year. It's just nuts, the amount of amazing games that have come out. Also, too, I just wanted to mention this, but also last week, 2 days before Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, we got Gears of War Reloaded, which is
I
really
forgot
awesome.
about that.
Yeah, also on PlayStation as well, which is
crazy.
Wild. So the best way to play the original Gears of War. So the hits just keep on coming, dude. Keep on coming.
I'm so excited. I feel like Game of the Year this year is going to be a mixed bag of what is Game of the Year, and everyone has a great claim. Because even now, I'm like, I've got at least 3 or 4 I could switch around and decide. I still don't know what I'm leaning on. I keep saying one, and I won't say it any further because Silksong is about to come out. But it could be anyone that wins Game of the Year this year, and I'd be completely okay with it because I feel like I've played 10 out of 10 games at least 4 times this year, if not more soon. Back on the topic of this month, Silksong coming out September 4th. Also pushed up a bunch of indie games that were meant to come out in September because much like GTA, when GTA releases, a bunch of AAA games decide, F it, we can't do this, move our game back by 2 months, we cannot compete. A bunch of indie games are doing the exact same thing, saying that Silksong feels like a little krill trying to not get eaten by a big blue whale. That is what a developer said. This includes, there's at least 8 games right now that have delayed to much later, if not a month, if not 2 months, based solely on the release schedule of Silksong. This includes Stomp and the Sword of the Miracles, which is a 2D Metroidvania. Baby Steps, that is a Devolver Digital release that I got to play a little bit of. Very interested in that one. There is also, where is this? Mega Bonk, Eterna Lucis, Little Witch in the Woods, Clover Pit, Phaland, a bunch of other ones. And then there's also an RPG that looks incredible that's been on my list of things I want to play called Demon School that was supposed to release the day before Silksong. And they've decided, you know what? It's too much of a risk. We're now releasing November 19th, hopefully giving you enough time to play Silksong. So I don't know what I feel about that because I feel like you're not in the same market necessarily as Silksong if you're an indie game, but simultaneously, I feel like every single person I know is going to be playing Silksong, and especially if you're an indie game, your cycle of sells are very short. So if your window is if people only buy 1 or 2 games a month, and Silksong is one of them, and then you have also Silent Hill and everything else to compete with, I completely understand pushing back to a different window because, it's make or break for certain games here. If those first 2 weeks are where they're going to make the most money and recoup all of the money they've used in investments, I assume this is probably the right play for a lot of these people.
I think so too. I totally understand because regardless of the genre, say if you're a hardcore gamer, first of all, Silksong is like a once in a lifetime type of deal where people have been waiting for this game so long. It's finally coming out. They know there's going to be a bunch of lore. They know they're going to put hundreds of hours probably into this game. And regardless of the genre, for example, I can't wait, absolutely cannot wait to play Cronos, but I'm not going to play it right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait and play Silksong first. So I totally get it, and I think it gives these indie games like a real shot at really making an impression. So I totally understand the situation they're in, and I hope that works out for them too. I really do, because a lot of these games seem awesome coming out.
I mean, like, just from that list, Demon's School and Baby Steps are ones that I've wanted to play, and if they did not move them back, I may completely forget they came out because they would be lost. I mean, Silksong is one thing. The next 2 months is still a cycle of constant huge releases. You're gonna get swallowed by the much larger video game. So I completely understand it. Not bad news, but just unfortunately news that you have to take into account, because nobody was anticipating Silksong to be released so quickly. No. And you know what? I'm happy they are, though. Yeah. Also on the independent, this triple I news, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 will not be the end of the franchise, the director confirms, as they are looking to make a sequel to the game. Maybe not a direct sequel, we're not quite sure. They have not released what the story beats for the next one will be, but they have said they're already working on conceptualizing it, and as well, I believe they're already shopping around the concept for media as well. I believe they hired the company that did the Sony games to maybe do TV or movies. I'm not surprised. I'll tell you from walking the Gamescom floor, the most cosplay I got to see was Expedition 33. Everyone was wearing, the beret, the scarf, the white striped shirts. A lot of people were Mel. A lot of people were Gustav. So yes, it's taken the world by storm. I'm not surprised they're getting another one.
So this makes me incredibly happy that we're going to get more games, at least within this universe, because it does really feel like a special game. But going off of the maybe doing a TV show or a movie, I'm so glad, because if there's a video game storyline that fits super well into a movie or a TV show, it's Expedition 33. It fits so perfectly. And a prime example is when I'm trying to explain to people who aren't gamers what the general premise or story of Expedition 33 is, every person said, "Oh, that'd be a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a great TV show." Everyone. So it would fit so well. I want more Expedition 33 everywhere. So that's awesome news.
Yeah, it's a fantastic concept, and like a TV series, I think would be perfect for this show, for this, because like you can really drag it out with enough characters to have it a big emotional pull. Because even the game has. And I know you're still fairly early. There's a lot of emotional twists in it. It's very good. And we have two more news pieces to talk about. First, I'd like to talk about Nintendo. I don't know if you saw this report, Chugs, but it would seem a lot of developers are talking about how Nintendo is not willing to give their dev kit for the Nintendo Switch 2, and instead are telling most developers, hey, just develop it for Switch 1, which... very fascinating. I've only barely read into this, and so maybe they've gone out since I read the initial release of this and explained why. But it would seem that Nintendo wants to be a little closer to the vest with what games are released on Switch 2 hardware, and I'm not quite sure why they would do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I know Nintendo certainly is incredibly protective about all their properties for sure. But with the Switch 2, you would think giving devs all these opportunities to make some really amazing games for this new console would be awesome. So not too sure what the thought process is there. I guess we'll have to kind of wait and see what exactly they mean by that. But very interesting, very interesting. And
then our final news piece is, and you could lead the charge on this one. Maybe there's a PlayStation 6 coming out.
Maybe there's a PlayStation 6. So this was kind of breaking news, like right before we went live. But recently a story had dropped from a leaker, like a well-known leaker, who apparently has some information on the specs the PlayStation 6, which again will not be out for a little while yet. But the super fascinating, interesting thing is in the spec list. There's two big numbers there, two big stats. One says in docked mode it does this. In handheld mode it does this. So are we getting like a handheld PlayStation 6? Like a Switch-inspired PlayStation 6. No idea if that's true. No idea if that's actually happening. But my God, if that's true, I am all for it. I love the idea of being able to play my consoles on the television or on the go. Whether or not that happens or comes to fruition, I don't know. But these are the rumors that we may be getting a handheld and docked version of the PlayStation 6, which would be incredible. That'd be incredible.
That definitely feels like the trend in video games right now. I mean, yes. Xbox is leading to it with ROG Ally. Obviously, Steam Deck was ahead of the curve on that, as well as Switch. So I'm not surprised, especially because like they've done the backbone and they've really invested on that one. They did what was the
PS
Portal recently, as well.
Yep.
So like they really were leaning into the cloud format to try and at least get their own handheld. So I'm not surprised if that's the next iteration of a PlayStation, because I think graphically you can only go so much further. I think ease of access, if I could play this anywhere. Honestly, if I could play my PlayStation 5 on the road without traveling a giant PlayStation 5, it would be my main console. But because it's not easy to transport, Switch 2 is currently my main console for almost everything. So I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah. If we get to a point, especially with travel schedules, if we get to a point where we can travel with our Xbox, our PlayStation, and our Nintendo Switch, I mean, my goodness, that'd be incredible. Plus the Steam Deck, because we know the Steam Deck 2 is also in the works. So just really exciing. We're
never going to stop playing video games. You might never say goodbye to all of your social circles because that's what I'm going to be doing. That's for sure. Yeah. That's it for news for this week. If you think we've missed anything of interest, do let us know. YouTube.com/AEWGames. That is where our video format is. Let us know down below in the comments what we may have missed, anything interesting, and we will make sure to bring it up next week when we talk about Silksong. You would think this is the end of the show, but it's not, because our favorite segment of the show comes to you right after this.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, the All Elite Arcade Mailbag, and it's brought to you, of course, by Upper Deck. Unlock the thrill of discovering autographed memorabilia of elite wrestlers and champions. In Uno, I have a Metal Universe pack here.
Ooh, these are brand new.
From Upper Deck. Yes, almost retro, but here we go.
Ooh, Serena Deeb. These all have like that cool hollow foil. It looks like a metal sheet.
They do.
Roderick Strong with mustache.
Love these mustache, Roddy.
Oh, Mina. Mina's got her own card.
Nice.
This is Lexi Nair. Andretti, Action Andretti.
There we go. Nice. All very cool looking cards. I love when the cards shine like that. The Upper Deck Authenticated 2025 AEW Monumental Box contains 3 carefully hand-picked memorabilia pieces with the chance to win a VIP fan experience. Elevate your memorabilia collection and chase a variety of items from Adam Page, MJF, Kenny Omega, Sting, Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné, and many more. Visit upperdeckstore.com or click the link in the show notes and grab your AEW Monumental Box today. Those are so cool. But it's time for us to jump into 3 questions today. 3 questions, starting off number 1 with Daryl. Daryl, thank you. Hey, guys, what is your favorite boss character design? Mine is Wyzen from Asura's Wrath. I could pick a few others from that game as one of my all-time favorites, but there is something about fighting a Galactus-sized boss that does it for me. Daryl, I'm so glad you asked that question because I could go on and on about all the incredible bosses in Elden Ring. There are so many great bosses all across the video game landscape, don't get me wrong, but some of my most memorable gaming moments is experiencing a lot of these Elden Ring bosses for the first time. For example, the first time you fight Radahn in the giant sand desert, him riding around on his tiny little horse, you calling in all these summons to help you do the fight, and when you get Radahn to about half health, all of a sudden he jumps up and disappears. And you're like, what's going on? what's happening? The music stops. You look up, a giant meteor is coming down. If you didn't get out of the way, you're dead. If you do, you see this massive explosion. The music kicks in. Radahn's using even more gravity magic. It's so freaking cool. It's so cool. And also, speaking of cool, once again, another one that really sticks out to me is Baal from the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Again, a very epic dragon fight from Software. Loves doing dragon fights. Elden Ring loves doing dragon fights. But man, same thing. When you get Baal to about half health, and if you back up far enough and you see him power up and his giant wings shoot out, it's one of the coolest visuals I've ever seen. That Baal starts flying around. I could name like 10 other Elden Ring bosses, but those two are the ones that are kind of fresh in my mind. So Daryl, awesome question. Elden Ring has some of the coolest boss design I've ever seen.
On my side, I will definitely reflect what you said about Galactus and fighting huge monsters and bosses, because some of my favorite boss designs, and so you could almost say this is a level design as well, but Shadow of the Colossus has some of the most incredible bosses. The concept of having to physically climb the boss to get to a weak spot, to expose a weak spot, because you're systemically getting them to expose a part to get to another part, to be able to climb on a shoulder, to be able to leap on the head, to stab it on the head. I think that is an incredible boss design choice. I love when a game makes a alarmingly large boss, and that's always been one of my favorites. But then on the complete other side of things, because I feel like a lot of these are samey, I definitely want to talk about the Great Mighty Pooh from Conker's Bad Fur Day on N64. Mechanically, it feels like a third-person a puzzle platformer boss, but what makes it so different? One, it's a Pooh. That's pretty funny on its own. But it also sings an opera ballad the entirety of the time that you're fighting it. It's just one of the catchiest boss tunes by far, because it is singing it to you as you are battling it. And so that's always been one of my personal favorites, and one that I've always kept in the bucket when having this discussion. So great question.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, great question, Daryl. Next up, we have a question from Taylor. Taylor says, hey, Chugs and Uno, what's a game you almost skipped because of bad cover art, or a game that had awesome cover art but you didn't end up enjoying? My pick for a great game that had horrible cover art is Forsaken 64. Please check out this cover and let us know if this would be your first or 100th choice for a badass first-person starship dungeon crawler. As a kid, I remember going to the video rental store a block from where I lived looking to rent WCW NWO Revenge for probably my 20th time. Someone had rented it and only had a few N64 games on their shelves, and Forsaken 64 was the only one I hadn't played. I almost ended up walking out based on the cover art alone, but I was desperate for a new game to play. I'm glad I did, because it ended up being one of my favorite games on the N64 to this day. My pick for awesome cover art but horrible game, Beast Wars. Transmetals for N64. Got it for Christmas. Cover art features the Maximals and Predacons looking badass. Once you pop in the game and start playing, you'd rather be outside shoveling snow. Absolute booty cheeks. Taylor, thank you very much for the question. The one that immediately comes to mind as far as and the big one I can think of is the bad cover art one. The one that immediately comes to mind for me is the original, and this is wild because I love it now. It's so perfect. But as a kid, I thought the original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 was just such a boring cover art.
I know.
Just this white background with black letters. When I'm looking at games like Final Fantasy VII, where you see Cloud with a giant sword on his back with the Mako reactor in the background, or Resident Evil 2 with the claw from Birkin and half of his face, I'm like, oh, these games look sick. And then Metal Gear Solid, I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is the cover art. It's one of my favorite games, easily top 3 from the original PlayStation 1 for me. And one of the greatest franchises, the original Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1 is such an unbelievable, unforgettable game. I love it so much. And now when I look at the cover art, I love it so much, and I wouldn't want it any other way. But as a kid, it didn't impress me at the time, and the game is incredible, and now I even love the cover art. So, Taylor, great question. What about you, Uno?
I think that was like a tell of the time, too. A lot of PS1 games, even Final Fantasy VII had like an alternate cover that was just the logo, and you could never know it's an incredible game based on that alone. I remember the PC box had no art on it. It was just Final Fantasy VII,
I think just the meteor in the background.
Yes, exactly. Which wasn't enough, right? It didn't tell you a whole lot. But thankfully, you had the back cover to also look at these things. The first ones that always come to mind for me is the Nintendo, the NES, because I remember being a child, I used to go to just a couple blocks from my house was a video rental store, and they would sell video games as well. That is where I ended up purchasing most of my NES games. If it wasn't gifted to me, I would end up pooling all the money that I got for my birthday or so on and so forth, and I would end up buying certain ones. And the one that has always, and I know that this is an incredible game, but I never thought it was incredible based on like the painting they used, but the Mega Man series would constantly use these paintings of Rockman, a character that does not look at all like what Mega Man would look like, and it never gave you the feel of what that video game would be like. And the NES is just ridden with these random paintings of what they believe like a real life version of characters would look like, and it worked either as a detriment to the video game because it looks silly and stupid, or it looks so incredible. You know, Castlevania, for example, is one of the examples that, of course, great game, great cover, but some of those were so good only to get, you know, a video game of the quality of like E.T. on Atari. So NES was just filled with that stuff, but the main one that I can remember is Mega Man. I've always hated that original painted cover.
Taylor, thank you again. Great question. Great question. I love these questions. And last but not least is Curtis. Curtis says, hey, Chugs and Uno, outside of gaming, I was curious, what other hobbies do you enjoy in your spare time? Curtis, this is a good question. My answer is going to be incredibly boring, though. So I am absolutely the type of person, when I'm really into something, I devote so much of my time to that. For the longest time, it has been professional wrestling and also video games. So I do spend obviously a lot of time, whether it's playing games, watching games, listening to gaming soundtracks. But I do, again, I love listening to music, all different kinds of music. I'm a big hip hop fan. Like I said, I'm a big fan of video game music. Absolutely love movies and television shows. Constantly, at least once over the weekend, I'll try to watch at least 1 or 2 movies if I can. And then if I'm really, really into a series, I love doing that as well. But otherwise, I'd say the biggest hobby right now is taking care of my new puppy Aloy, who has been an absolute handful, but an absolute sweetheart. So she, Curtis, has been my biggest hobby lately.
Me on my side, I also think of some of my hobbies as pretty boring and plain. Obviously, the most interesting part of me is that, you know, I now work within the pro wrestling and video game world, and they've been my obsession since I was a small child. But other than playing video games, which by far is what I think I commit the most time to, other than the traveling for wrestling, the things I like to do is I love watching movies. I'm a big movie watcher in general. I love going to the movie theater. I have a drive-in not far from my apartment now. I like to go to that when I can. I also have been, in the last few years, really enjoying anime and manga. So I've been watching a lot of random animes. I read the manga for Monster, but now realized that they also had the anime of it. And so now I've been watching that. If you want any suggestions on anime, go watch Monster. It's about a doctor who's an incredible doctor and ends up saving a pair of twins through surgery. And later on finds out that one of the twins he saved in surgery becomes a serial killer. And he feels personally accountable for saving his life. And because there's more to it than just that, but he ends up going on the hunt for finding this character, and it unravels into like all kinds of crazy stuff. It becomes a geopolitical show as well. Very interesting. Go check that out. And then the other thing that I'm big on, and I think I mentioned it here before, is I'm a big Grand Sumo fan. I watch a lot of sumo wrestling. There is 6 tournaments a year. They happen about every 2 months. They last 15 days straight. Everyone battles everyone one day after the other until one is declared winner of the Basho, which is the tournament. And I've been watching this pretty religiously for about 3 years now. And then finally, I'm making my pro wrestling debut in Japan this September. Very excited. Get to wrestle at Kurikan Hall. To be announced.
Oh, congrats, man!
Thank you so much. Amazing. To be announced who that will be against. But the day before, I get to knock out another bucket list item because I'm going to go see Grand Sumo live. semifinals, so the 14th day of 15 of a tournament. So it's in the last few days is when it gets the most exciting because you do not know who's going to walk away with the tournament because it's round robin style. And so I'm going to get to see that. Sumo starts at like 9 a.m. and it goes till 6 p.m. Every division fights one after the other. You do not have to go watch all of them. Obviously, the world champions of sumo, including the Yokozunas, are like the last 2 hours of it. But I'm very, very excited. I've been religiously watching it for a while now, and I'm very excited for the September tournament. And that's most of the stuff I'm into when it's not video games and pro wrestling.
Yeah, nice.
And great questions from everyone sent in today. We thank you so much for sending your questions in. If you would like to have your question answered on a future episode of the All Elite Arcade podcast, you can go to tbs.com/arcade mailbag. That is where you can send your questions in for us. As well, if you have any comments about the things we've said, or you'd like to make some suggestions, or maybe you just want to discuss some sumo, go to youtube.com/awgames. That is where you can find our video format of our podcast. It drops at noon Eastern Standard Time every single Monday. As well as MXM's Bronami Code show, where they play video games with AEW pro wrestlers. That drops on Thursdays. All of that on youtube.com/AEWgames. As well, our podcast is everywhere. Make sure you hit that follow or subscription button. It's free. It will help us a lot, and you get to be notified of the next time we drop an episode, which is every single Monday. We'll be back next week on Monday with Silksong.
Yep, it's going to be the All Elite Arcade podcast featuring Silksong.
Yes, brought to you by Silksong, not a sponsor. We're willfully giving them our time and money. I am so excited. I was so excited about the Gamescom talk, and now this might be the most excited I am about talking about a video game because I know for once both of us will be playing the same video game at the same time. I cannot wait to talk about it.
Cannot wait. So excited.
So do check us out as well. We're on Twitch. I'm on twitch.tv/eviluno. I will have a mystery wrestling show this month. Chugs, where can they find you?
I am at twitch.tv/thechugs, going through Expedition 33 for the first time, and of course going to be playing through Silksong as well.
Are you going to do both simultaneously?
I am. I'm doing a 2-game cycle, which is a crazy compliment to Expedition 33, by the way, because I was convinced the second Silksong came out, that's all I was going to play.
Yes.
I'm loving Expedition 33 so much that I am going to switch between that back and forth. So it's going to be 2 amazing games back to back.
So do check that out. Go check us out on Twitch as well as twitch.tv/AEWgames, where we do that 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. We will all see you next Monday for an new episode of All Elite Arcade. Thank you very much for listening, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.